Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that we're recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speaker, please add them to the chat and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is eliminating customer doubt, how to make your franchise the preferred choice, and it is brought to us by Consumer Fusion. Here to provide today's discussion is Zan Gulish, VP of Business Development at Consumer Fusion. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Consumer Fusion for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Perfect. All right, awesome. And then you can hear me loud and clear here, Lawrence, and you can see the screen correct as I have everything pulled up, correct? All right, perfect. All right, everyone. Thanks so much, Lauren, for introducing me today. I do have to share a quick disclaimer. If you hear any weird snoring noises or anything like that, I promise it's not me. I have a little French bulldog underneath me here. So fair warning for that. So just as a heads up. Like Lauren had mentioned, my name is Zan. I'm with the company Consumer Fusion. And today's topic that we're going to be covering on the IFA Lunch and Learn is eliminating customer doubt, how to make your franchise the preferred choice, not only at the national brand level, but more so on the hyper local level to help your franchisees grow in business. So once again, my name is Zan Gulish. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Consumer Fusion. I've actually been with the company 6 years as of today. I was hired back on March 5th of 2018. So it seems like yesterday, but also it seems like it's been forever. So really excited to be presenting to you guys today. Consumer Fusion, quick background on our origin story is we were actually started in 2013, about 11 years ago, as when we were first founded by Bryn Gibbs, who is still our CEO to this day. The way we were founded is Bryn's father-in-law was actually he was a dentist, owned a dental practice. He had to let go of an employee due to some unforeseen circumstances. And what happened is they actually went in, put a bunch of negative content all over his practice, and it really affected his business. Bryn, being the wizard that she is, was actually able to go in and get a lot of that information cleaned up, delete a lot of negative content. So the brainchild was kind of born from there for Consumer Fusion. So we initially started in the dental space. We were there till about 2016, 17, sold out of that space. Once that non-compete was up is when we went all in on franchising when I came on. So I've met many of you at the IFA shows and the events. So we're big supporters of IFA, plan on continuing to be. So once again, excited to be here. What we're actually going to be going through today is exploring strategies for an optimal online reputation. So we're going to cover how does reputation management help eliminate consumer doubt and actually get them in the door to your franchise locations. We're going to go through real strategies for reputation management, what you can do at that local level to help your franchisees gain business, and then also real brand success. So we're going to look at some brands that actually have utilized these strategies and the success that has come of it. All right, so I'm going to start today with a personal story because it's really going to tie in everything that we talk about. So why am I showing you a hole in my roof? So I live in San Diego, California. Despite what you may have heard, it is actually not always 70 and sunny here. So we had really bad storms about 3 or 4 years ago during the COVID times in this room right behind me. I went in there in the middle of the day and noticed there was a big leak. I'm not handy even in the slightest, okay? I can't fix anything. So I'm not going to get up there and try to figure out what's going on with my roof. Instead, I'm going to call someone else to figure out what it is. I didn't know if this was due to a pipe leak. Maybe it was due to the rains and there was an actual leak in the roof. So what did I do? I came in right here and typed in plumber and restoration near me in San Diego, California. Okay. Based on these search results, I wanted to get someone out here as soon as possible. Based on this kind of what I call the Google 3-pack or map pack, I made a decision for this, okay? I decided to go with a business, not shocking to you guys, that had nearly 4,000 reviews at 4.9 stars versus some of the competition. I called them. More importantly, they picked up right away, and they had someone out here the same day. So long story short, technician came in. They were able to resolve all my solutions in under 24 hours. As you can imagine, though, I was talking to the technician that was out here throughout the day, talking a little bit to them about what they do, how long they've been with the company. So that individual had actually been with this company at the time for 3 or 4 years. talked about it. We were talking through it. They left. I didn't think anything of it. About a week later, they had actually called us back with their marketing in person, and we talked through our services, and we actually signed up this client, Bill Howe. They've now been with us for about 3 or 4 years. So when I was looking them up, they did not have these 4,000 reviews that they have today. It was probably a few hundred around a similar star rating. But the reason they did this is because they understand that you need to be cutting edge and always stay on top of what's going on in the reputation space. And this story will translate perfectly to what we're going to go through today, how the market is changing. And we know that potential customers are going online to search for their next purchase. So over the years, there's actually been a 500% increase in online searches for the best business near me. In my example, right, it was the best plumber or restoration company near me. If your kid gets sick, it might be best pediatrician near me. If your car breaks down, best auto mechanic near me. So we understand how our service-based business needs to be ranking well whenever these searches happen. Furthermore, 81% of consumers are turning to the internet for information. So a comprehensive reputation management strategy is going to be crucial for you and your entire brand, not only as the franchisor maintaining those standards, but also the franchisee, once again, at the local level. So what I say here is the reputation piece is not just about your reviews. It's equally as important to have the online visibility. If you have one without the other, it's not going to work the way you want. If you have really good rating, but you can't be found, it's not going to be any good. But if you can be found and don't have a good rating, it's going to cause a drop off from consumers actually booking with you. So here's the 4 things that we're going to talk about today about how reputation management actually eases consumer doubt. Number one, we want to enhance our online ratings. 49% of consumers, they actually require a minimum 4-star rating before they even consider doing business with you. I always say that whenever I'm looking up restaurants or anything, if they have a 3 that it starts with on their rating, I'm on to the next one. Lot's probably can be said the same about your businesses or your franchise brand. We need to make sure that we're getting to that pivotal 4-star mark for all locations. The next piece is going to be boosting that local SEO. So this is going to be crucial is getting into that business local 3-pack. They enjoy an average click-through rate of 44%. So you're much more likely to get clicked on if you're in those organic rankings on Google and these other sites. So we're going to talk about how to boost your local SEO and actually get into those rankings. Next piece I want to talk about is going to be building trust. 85% of consumers actually are going to trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So I can't emphasize this enough. Today's word of mouth is going to be online reviews. People are trusting what others are saying. So making sure that we're getting that piece on there. Last piece is going to be showcasing those positive customer experiences. To reemphasize what I said on the last point, nearly 3 out of 4 consumers trust the company more if it has positive reviews. And I will say too, you do not want to be relying on yesterday's reviews. You should be striving to get new reviews in daily, weekly, as frequently as possible to keep those new experiences on the front of the consumer's mind. So let's get into some strategies that we can actually use to ease consumer doubt and win customers for your franchisees. So this will be the navigating the path to get a preferred franchise. And what we're going to go through today is a comprehensive review management strategy. We're going to go through the local listings and SEO piece, how to get ranking well. And then number 3, this is going to be a theme out today, having a strategy, not just the technology. Sometimes you can't just have a software in place. You need a team behind that really driving the results for your franchisees. So let's get into it. Step 1, a comprehensive review management strategy. What does this involve? So the first piece that you need to be doing for comprehensive review management is you want to monitor all of your platforms that you're getting reviews on. We want to track any brand mentions that could be coming in on social media, whether they're negative or positive. We want to make sure we know what reviews that we can get review sites on, so we know to monitor those. I even recommend here having sort of push notifications in place for your franchisee or even you on the franchisor side. Okay, so that way they know what's happening at their local location, but also brand wide what's going on here. The second piece we're going to go through is generating positive reviews through various channels. I say various channels because this can't just be Google. It can't just be Yelp or TripAdvisor. Whatever your relevant sites are for your specific industry, we need to make sure we're getting reviews onto all of those platforms, not just one. Third piece, we're going to talk about responses. So you need to establish a system for timely responses to both negative and positive reviews. We can't just be responding to some reviews at certain locations and then other locations they're completely unresponded to. And we're getting into some stats on why this is really important. Fourth piece was protection, illegitimate review removal. We know that negative reviews can cost you up to 30 potential customers. So if you have 100 locations, you have negative reviews across all these locations, you can understand how this will really start to compound. So we're going to talk about addressing negative reviews and what can or cannot be removed. So monitoring the review sites. So it's important to regularly monitor all of the platforms where people can review your brand. Once again, whether this is Google, Facebook, or those more industry specific sites, keeping a finger on the pulse about what's going on is going to be really important. This might be relevant if you're getting spammed, negative reviews across multiple locations. You can do this better if you're monitoring under one roof and start to see these themes. You can once again set up push notifications so that way you know what's going on if there's negative or positive content coming in, as well as your franchisee at that local location. So once again, monitoring these sites is going to be really crucial to knowing what's going on at the brand level. Next piece I'm going to talk about is effective methods to collecting reviews. So I will say here on the left side of the screen, these three options are going to be my preferred choice for generating reviews, and I'm going to explain why. I'll say even this too, that I think they go in order from 1, 2, and 3 about what works best. Number one preference for generating reviews is going to be through text messages. I highly encourage, if you can, to automate this process. Either integrate a solution into your CRM, if you have an appointment reminder platform, even a point of sale system. So that way, as you're wrapping up a job with a customer, maybe they're checking out at your local location, as soon as that transaction's complete or that job is finished, you want a text going out, how's the experience been with your franchise brand? So text message is going to be the most instantaneous. The second piece that's going to work second best will be email request. Email requests still work really well, but they're not going to be instantaneous. I'm sure if many of you go into your email inbox, there's probably a lot of unread emails. The same is probably not true of your text messages, right? You clear those out, you open them, so you can be much more sure that your customers are getting those requests. But I recommend you can have a two-pronged approach here. Send both a text and an email. The third piece is going to be QR codes. QR codes are going to work better for certain industries, more so than others. I think QR codes work really well at restaurants. If you could maybe put a QR code on your bill, some of our brands like to put them right on a table so customers can scan to leave reviews this way. We even see this works really well at physical locations or maybe like medical practices where you have like a nice plaque with some QR codes so customers or patients can easily scan to leave reviews that way right in your office. These pieces on the right-hand side, I don't like them as much because they involve a little bit more human interference. So you might have to ask your employees to send requests out, direct people to landing pages, review links, but then you're counting on that consumer or your employees to actually go in and facilitate this. So the more automation you can get, the more reviews you're ultimately going to get in. This is an example of some templates that we've used in the past. So you're going to notice here, we try to send these templates with direct links to these review sites. What I see a lot of time too that our franchisor or franchise brands do is they'll have a 2-layer system here. They might send out an initial NPS score. If that NPS score comes back strong, they'll then send that review request. What we've seen on our end is a really steep drop off whenever we do this or whenever brands do this. It's hard enough to get someone to fill out an NPS and then leave a review that you'll see like maybe 2 or 3% conversion. So I know it might be a little daunting or scary, but I do highly recommend that you just send a review request here where your customers can click one button and now they have a frictionless process to leave your review. And this is an email or text template that you could kind of base this off and utilize. Now that we're generating reviews into the business, how are we responding to these reviews? And it's going to be important you respond to these strategically. And there's going to be 3 things you want to include in every single review response, positive or negative. You're going to want to include the franchise or the business name, the location, what city and state you're in, and then also the industry that you're in or that you service. Okay. So why do you want to do this? This is going to help your online ranking and your local hyper localized SEO. So using these keywords in like a Google response, for instance, Google's algorithm will pick up on these keywords and it's going to help whenever people are looking for your business. So for an example here, what you'd want to do is say, thank you so much for choosing ABC Business in San Diego. We're thrilled to hear about your positive experience. Our team works hard to provide top-notch restoration and plumbing service, right? We can't wait to serve you again. So whenever you're tying this in and someone maybe comes in and they type in restoration company in San Diego, restoration company near me, Google's going to start to recognize that you're putting your business name in there, the city, as well as the product or service that you have, and they're going to reward you for this. They're going to recognize these keywords and it's going to start to pull you up those organic rankings. So this isn't only going to be important to respond to these reviews for because your customers are going to be looking for that, but now you're even getting a nice cherry on top from Google, and they're going to reward you. All right, next piece here is going to be illegitimate review removal. So, what reviews can you actually dispute and get removed? So, I do want to preface this by letting everyone here know that every single review site your customers are leaving reviews on, all are going to have a terms and conditions page, and they're all going to have a list of things that you can and cannot say when it comes to reviewing a business online. The reason that everyone has struggled with negative review removal and can't get it done is you need persistency and consistency, right? So getting in touch with Google or actually talking to someone at their customer service can be a nightmare. So you have to have someone on your team continually following up with these escalations. And here's a list of some pieces that can be removed across almost every site. So you need to have someone knowing when these negatives come in, and then we need to go see about escalating them. But this can't be done with the software. This all has to be done by a live team or live humans. So what can we do to not only have just a software in place, but to have a team in place, right? It's not just about having technology. What can you have for a team? Okay, so that wraps up the reputation side of what everyone should have in place for a comprehensive reputation strategy. The next piece I want to get into is our local listings and the SEO. So have any of you wondered what being number one on Google means for your business? It's not just about being on top, it's about being that go-to choice, okay? So when people find you, they're going to choose between that Google 3-pack. We want your franchise to be that choice. So enhancing visibility through local listings, things you should know. Number one, there's over 60 plus different sites that Google's algorithm consistently analyzes when it comes to ranking these businesses. So first, you want to get every single franchise location listed on all 60 plus of these different sites. It's great that if you use a tool to push this out, but you want to continue to touch each of these sites on a monthly basis because not shocking, Google likes when you're on Google. So the more you can continue to update each of these sites, once again, the more Google's going to reward you. The benefits from doing this is you're going to get increased local search visibility. You're going to get better online discoverability for potential consumers and improve your local SEO. So this is all about ranking organically, whether someone's going to Google, maybe they're picking up their iPhone here to search on Apple Maps, Bing, Yahoo, any of these sites that customers could be going to. We want to make sure that we're listed there correctly and are ranking well. The strategies for this is you need to optimize your listings with accurate information. So having the name of the business exact across all 60 of these sites, having hours of operation accurate, the address. If there's even a comma out of place on your address for these sites, Google's algorithm is going to pick that up and recognize it as a different business, which is going to affect where you're ranking on these sites. Last piece there is in the consistency, and then once again, encouraging customer reviews on all of these platforms. Why local SEO matters. So we know that roughly 34% of Google's search algorithm is going to be based on reviews. So the first piece that you're going to want to focus on is the overall star rating as well as the quality of reviews, making sure they're coming in frequently and consistently across multiple sites. We want to make sure the quantity, the quantity and frequency, the overall star rating and quality is also going to be important. So having that 4 stars or above. One piece to know here is anytime someone goes into Google and they type in the keyword best, once again, best pediatrician, best plumber, best restaurant near me, the only search queries or inquiries that are going to come up are if your 4 stars are above in ranking. So even Google's rewarding people with their 4 stars or better. So anytime, once again, someone types in best insert business category, the only businesses that are showing up have 4 stars or below. The last piece is going to be that business response. Stat around this is there's a 30% chance increased likelihood that if you go in and respond to negative reviews in under 24 hours of your customers, there's that 30% likelihood they'll amend that review or remove it altogether. So responding to the positive stuff as well as the negative stuff is going to be important. This here, these numbers are referring to that Google 3-pack. We know that 75% of clicks will actually happen here in this Google 3-pack when someone's searching for a service or business. So that's why it's so important to be up there on the top 3 of those. So here's actually your go-to strategy to rank higher and things you can do. Number one, encourage the reviews, not only on Google, but all platforms. Prompt responses to reviews under 24 hours is preferable. And I recommend having a solution in place for this. I see all the time franchisors like, we let our franchisees handle the reviews. We rely on them to go into a platform and respond. Something I always hear that every franchisor struggles with is adoption of platforms. If you're counting on your franchisee to not only operate a business, but to go in and respond to every review that comes in, there's not going to be brand consistency system wide. Each location is going to be a little different, which we don't want. Optimize the Google business profile with all information being accurate. Address negative reviews, so getting the negative content escalated that can be removed. Utilize that customer feedback for SEO, so utilizing it on different platforms, and then making sure we're leveraging multiple review platforms to getting as much feedback in as possible. All right, so that wraps up the local SEO piece and those local rankings. Last piece I'm going to talk to you about today is strategy, not just technology. So once again, having a team in place, not just the technology to rely on, so that way we're staying cutting edge. Something we're going to talk about here is what works today won't always work tomorrow. So what are you doing to stay on top of this? So the power of a dedicated team. Okay, so to effectively run a reputation strategy for your brand, consider hiring a dedicated reputation management team. What this is going to do is ensure consistency in brand messaging and reputation management efforts across all locations. One of the more frustrating things, right, is whenever you have a really strong franchisee that does a great job at this, but then you have someone that's falling behind. So relying on a franchisee to manage all of this could be setting your brand up for failure. So making sure that you have people that are showing support for them at the local level to help them win customers to get through their door. So real experts combined with cutting edge technology for that personalized support. So seamlessly integrate human expertise with automated processes for optimal results. Having that human level on top of the technology is really going to ensure that you guys are setting yourself up for success, especially as you start to grow and scale. This might be easy to manage if you only have 5 locations, 10 locations, but as you continue to grow and get into those 40, 50, even 100 units, this is going to be much harder to scale, and having a team in place is going to help. The last piece, offensive and defensive strategies. I always say in sports, right, you need to have an offense and defense to win championships. The same is said for in business. What are we doing to ensure that we're getting new content in, but also defending our current locations that are set up? So what does success look like? Now we're going to turn to show you what we do at Consumer Fusion and some brands that we actually help. So I want to go through a quick 3 case studies here to highlight what we were actually talking about today. The first brand I'm going to highlight is Senior Helpers. They're an at-home healthcare provider. You're going to notice here that we help with high organic ranking, getting their sites listed correctly. This is in New York, which, as you can imagine, is a very competitive market. So having them rank hyper locally when someone types in senior healthcare or at-home healthcare, this helps them get more clicks, more customers coming into the door. The second piece we help them with is illegitimate review removal. We've removed just around 600 reviews across 250 locations. And then this piece is big for them, is the review request. You can imagine being an at-home healthcare provider, this is a very sensitive industry to be generating reviews. We've seen almost 50% success rate utilizing those exact templates that I showed earlier. So about 500 email requests have came through, another 400 text message. We're also helping with review responses. So you're going to notice here total hours saved. We're able to tie in an ROI here on review responses. We know that each review response can take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. So automating this process is going to get your team time back where they maybe already have limited bandwidth. So you can see how these responses directly correlates to time saved. Last piece is the Google customer actions that we track here. So you can see the actual monthly views they're getting in, actions these customers are taking versus going to the website, picking up the phone to call, or even getting directions to a location. Next one is Cleaning Authority. They're part of Authority Brands. I'm going to echo a lot of the same pieces here. High organic ranking that they have. We've removed around almost 1,200 reviews across 200 locations for them. Once again, you can see the auto replies, the amount of hours it saved their team, and then the website clicks, phone calls, direction requests. Last brand here I want to touch upon is going to be College Hunks Hauling Junk. I always like to use this brand. They've been on Undercover Boss, Shark Tank, so a lot of people are familiar with them. They're out in the news. High organic ranking. You'll see here we've removed a lot of reviews for them. 220 locations. We've removed almost 4,000 reviews. One thing I do want to be transparent about here is this hasn't been an overnight success. We've been with College Hunks for almost 3, if not 4 years. So I always say that a good reputation strategy or a comprehensive reputation management strategy is going to be like a good stock or credit repair. It's going to be slow and steady and up to the right. This isn't all going to happen overnight. So that's why having that solution in place is important. For them, we've got them almost 4,500 hours back from their team for responding to reviews. And then you can see the website clicks as well as the call clicks. So the takeaways from today is uniting technology and expertise. So key takeaways, excuse me. Reputation management is essential for your brand and building trust at the local level as well as the brand level. It's going to build trust with your consumers, and that's going to matter. Integrating technology and strategy is what's ultimately going to bring these results. So I do want to pause here. I've been talking at you guys for just about 25 minutes now. I know I'm sick of hearing myself talk. So I would love to hear some questions that all of you may have. If you think they're silly questions, please ask them. If you think they're groundbreaking questions, please ask them, because regardless, I'm sure someone else here listening probably has a similar question. So I did want to pause here to open up for any questions that we may have. No questions? Okay. Anyone? I did have a couple pieces here that we get asked pretty frequently here that I guess I could cover. Just some more stats around what we see on the franchisor side. So one thing I want to touch upon on listings and having like a little bit more of a white glove support that I would recommend is that you guys start to own your listings. As you continue to create these for new franchise locations, we see that it's rare that brands have over 75% of Google access to their local listings page. So making sure as you're creating these for your franchisees that you are owning these listings and have ownership of them. We've heard, time and time again of nightmare stories of maybe someone's leaving the system. Maybe they're a troublesome franchisee that have to actually get kicked out. So making sure that you're actually coming in and owning those listings will be really important as you continue to scale. Another big pain point that we're seeing right now is for service-based business needs. So things like video Google verification to get a listing set up. So this is where it's not just going to be about having a tool to set up your listing sites. This is where you're going to need a team behind it. So if you're counting on your franchisees to set up your Google business pages, your Facebook pages, this takes a lot of time. So this is just a major pain point that we've seen is that helping support them get their Google video verification, maybe reconnecting Facebooks if they get disconnected. I know there was a big problem with Meta today. So even doing things like that, helping that listing support for them at the local level will be really important. So a few questions that we get pretty frequently. So I don't know if that triggered anything. If anyone else had questions here before we wrap up today. If not, I can kick it back to Lauren and she can kind of wrap us up there.
It looks like there's a few questions in the chat.
Oh, did I miss them? Okay. Generalized costs for our services. So this is going to be largely location based, as well as we do things a little bit more a la carte, or if you want like a full comprehensive strategy for a single location, it can range anywhere from, $300 to $400 monthly. As we start to really scale, those numbers can get down into, the double digits when we're talking to, dozens, hundreds of locations. So what I'll say here, Jason, too, I know you asked this, is feel free to shoot me an email. Here's my email, which I will try to copy and put in there. So feel free to email me too, and I can get you a little bit more direct pricing based off what you're looking for, size, scale, and everything there. So I'll include that here. When automating review responses, do you do this for only positive reviews without context, or was you just for 1 and 2 star reviews too? What I always recommend for our brands is definitely automate the 4 and 5 star reviews. You can do things like set up templates for this to automate those review responses to go out. Our system personally integrates with Chat GPT as well. So maybe for something that's 1 or 2 stars, you can go in, analyze that response. We can already have predisposed templates set up. So that way you can go and choose those templates to disperse them to that negative content, or you can use the Chat GPT feature to respond more directly. But I would say I personally prefer to automate the more 4 and 5 stars. If it's 3 stars or below, let's do a little bit more of a custom response. It is kind of best practices that I've seen. So good question there, Dakota. Cool. I think that I don't see any other questions in there. So if anyone else wanted to add them, please do. All righty. Well, thanks everyone for joining here today. I really appreciate it. Hope you all found at least a couple pieces of information that could be useful. Once again, if you have any questions more directly you want to take offline, you have all of my information there. So once again, thank you everyone for attending, and we hope to talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
everyone.
Sandy. This was
Take care.
excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Zan and the Consumer Fusion team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.